what we're doing today. This is a quick bio of me, I guess. Start that. So,
It's beautiful.
thank you. Thanks. I actually just changed it on my Facebook profile because I had a terrible school picture last week, and my colleagues were complaining. All right, so I was a teacher by trade, off and on for 10 years. Started using the oils in 2007, and became an intentionally building business owner in 2012, which was perfect timing, divine timing, that I was going through divorce and trying to figure out how I was going to support 2 kids on a single teacher's salary. That wasn't going to happen. So my business grew and flourished as that was happening. And then in 2015, I was able to resign from that teaching job because I was able to do more with my essential oils business and with leading myself in other directions. So I really always felt called to spiritual direction. And as part of that, then I was certified in this technique, Aroma Freedom, as another modality for using the essential oils to just foster, again, relaxation, lowering stress levels, and it's been super powerful. This is Dr. Ben Perkis. Dr. Perkis is a psychotherapist who is in practice, has been since 1995. He started using the oils in 2001, and he was integrating them into his practice with his clients and finding huge success. So I first heard him speak at a Young Living convention back in 2000, I think we decided it was like 2010, 2011, where he was talking about the use of Trauma Life, which is an oil blend from Young Living for people who are experiencing high levels of stress related to a particular incident. So he, in some of these modalities that you're familiar with, EMDR, NET, ART, EFT, those kinds of energy psychology modes, he was using the essential oils conjunctively and said, there's got to be a way we can teach a very simple process for releasing emotions that are bound up in some of the same ways. And so he developed this in the course of a couple of years, and then wrote this book after he used the process on himself, wrote the book in like a week or something, because he knew it was like bubbling up inside of him. But sometimes we get limited, right, by other people's naysaying or our own doubts about ourselves. And so he published this book. This is the second edition, and this one was published in 2017. So it's brand new, so to speak, and he has started to duplicate certification of practitioners and also instructors of Aroma Freedom Technique as well. So he's got a ton of information on Facebook under Aroma Freedom Academy. I'll tell you a little bit more about that at the end. And also on his website. So you can look up Aroma Freedom Technique and get connected to his teachings and trainings. But great guy. All founded in this idea that the Aroma Freedom Technique is a step-by-step process that releases those negative emotions and limiting beliefs that we've held on to for a really long time. And I'll go into more detail on that in a second. But using the essential oils then shift that memory complex in our subconscious in a way that sometimes we can't just talk through it. You know, it's got to move a different way. We know that our response to smell is powerful and automatic. Like when we smell something that's gone rotten in the refrigerator, we have that visceral reaction. It's located in our amygdala and our limbic system. So we know that just like a prey can smell a predator and run, we determine too, are we going to fight this, or are we going to flee from it, or are we going to, what's our reaction to it? And there's some feeling process going on in that as well. Our olfactory gland is actually, or the nerve, directly connects to the limbic system. So there's no processing that happens in our conscious mind. It all happens deep within our brain, which is why sometimes we have, you know, I don't know why I don't like that person, or I don't know why I don't like that smell, right? Like, I don't know what it is about her, you know, or whatever we say to ourselves, that's because we're connected to that safe and unsafe feeling. The problem is that we've held on to things past the time that they are relevant anymore, and in our current state, we're probably protecting, our subconscious is probably protecting us from something and a risk that doesn't even exist anymore. So in order to open fully to what's possible and to start to shift some of those old beliefs, we turn to essential oils, or as they've done in religious ceremonies for years, an incense or some other kind of scent to help just kind of change and shift from a cellular level the things that are going on in our brain. This is based on the oil blends that are sitting in front of you today, and all of that are based on research and study from D. Gary Young, who's the founder of Young Living. If you haven't done any research on him, definitely take a look at who he is. We just find that the things that he's done for Young Living in terms of being a pioneer in aromatherapy and really bringing high quality, what some people term therapeutic grade essential oils to the population has been just paramount to the whole group's success. But the thing that I guess because of my mom, was drawn to so much when we first started were these bizarre oils that were called things like Into the Future and Envision and Abundance. Like who put, oh, and then my favorite was when we've been in a few years and they came out, one of the new blends at convention was Common Sense. Now how many of you ever said like, I wish we could bottle Common Sense and give it to somebody, right? Well, they did. All right, Young Living did that. So Gary has used his knowledge of how oils work synergistically together to make these blends to help people not just physically feel better, but emotionally shift and clear some of those things as well. So the weirdo oil blends we're using today are Inner Child, Release, and we'll also use Transformation at the end. So those are just really awesome at, again, just trusting that this has been designed, these have been integrated and put together on purpose for what we're doing today. A little quick history on essential oils because I don't want to spend a lot of time on this, but they are the lifeblood of the plant. And many times, and this is what I feel really strongly and passionately about, many times people will find them anywhere, the Circle K down the street, or Cracker Barrel I think carries a whole set of oils now, Costco has them, and we think we're getting what it says on the bottle, and yet we're not. And so I'll tell a little bit more about why it's so important to stick with a brand that says what it is. But if you're inhaling these or putting them on topically, and some of them, are safe to ingest, you're doing that, you want to make sure you trust your distiller. You want to make sure you trust your company, your grower, your researchers, right? The people that are testing this. And so for me, using Young Living, and Dr. Perkis says too, I mean, he's only talking about using this process with Young Living essential oils because of the seed to seal promise. To clarify, I'm a spiritual director and a teacher. I am not, I'm not a health professional. So I do tell everybody when they're first getting started, take lots of water today, and similarly to those of you who have massages with essential oils before, you want to flush and keep cleaning and detoxing your system after our time today. You also, if anything gets unearthed today that is discomforting to you or unsettling, I encourage you to consult a health professional, a mental health professional if you feel like you need additional support, or an energy healer that you work with, professionally. Because I really want to stress that we're dealing with shifts of, subconscious work. So you never know what's going to crop up, and I want to make sure that you're safe in that process as well. I'm also super grateful to this space, right, for having this awesome location to just create this as a sacred and safe space. If at any time you feel like you're not going to jive in with it, there's a great little waiting area out here to just go, take your water, take a breath, and we'll come back in. We'll be smelling the oils, so some of them we'll put on our fingers to smell. If that's too strong for you, I invite you to just sit quietly with your eyes closed and just let the aroma in the room kind of waft to you. All right, you want to be sensitive in a large area like this. Oh, so why do I almost forgot. So we get stuck because of negative thoughts, feelings, and behaviors that we've held on to. This girl here is freaking out because she's going to get ready to speak in public. Sometimes I can remember involuntarily my knee shaking when I first started doing presentations. Any of you have those? My hands still get sweaty to this day when I'm speaking in front of groups. In fact, when I have to share a microphone with somebody, I always have like a tissue that I can do. And now it's your turn. But those are physiological responses to what I'm facing at the time, and so we process those beliefs through our whole lives, whether we've held on to the fact that you're weak or you're strong, you're beautiful or you're ugly. Those all have been rooted there, whether by somebody else and another voice telling you those things, or your own, where we've taken in kind of a misunderstanding of who we were created to be. And so how do we start to shift those? Because, as we know, the old adage, if you keep on doing the same old thing and expect different results, that's the definition of insanity, right? So we are choosing in this space today to maybe look at some ways that you have been approaching the same goal with different expectations. When we are thinking negatively, there are people that say if we just fight the negative thoughts, then they won't happen for us anymore. We'll just fight them away, you know, be aware of them and fight them off. We could ignore them and think about something else. Sometimes people say, let's go to our happy place. Just, you know, Calgon, take me away. Or to replace with positive affirmations. You know, I love the work of Louise Hay and use her positive affirmations often. However, I know that I can say all of those things, but if it's falling in a subconscious that's already filled up with the negative stuff, I've got to release some of those old negative patterns so that I can literally replace them with positive affirmations. So what we do in this process, oh, I forgot there was another or. What we do in this process is the essential oils actually act as a dissolving method to take away those thoughts, feelings, and sensations that you've had and make room for those new patterns of belief and thought. It's pretty cool. This is results-based, as Dr. Purkis has been teaching this modality to lay people and health professionals. We've all been tracking our data, noting that people are experiencing a shift in growing in their confidence level from when they first start the process to when they end. So that's really cool to be able, I mean, I just listened to him last week. I think there have been 3,500 data submissions so far, and for the majority, people are experiencing a huge shift in release. I need to get that latest bar graph that he showed though. So again, then we're able, once we've released that, then we're able to take those next steps of action to really make a difference in what we're facing. All right, so this is where we're going to practice it now. So we brought oils to share with everybody today. Just a quick note on how this works. Deb, over here are 3 essential oils that come in our initial kit, and most of you are familiar with that, but this is Stress Away, which is a blend with actually vanilla in it, which is the scent of vanilla that's very calming, frankincense, and lavender. So Dr. Purkis looked at our starter kit when he was prepping for this, and he thought, which oils would bring the most calm to a group? And so these were the 3 he chose out of that beginning. So I actually combined them into this container, but it will do equal parts. So that would be 1 drop of each of these oils if you don't have this one. I also, I brought sets of oils today if you want to use these. If you don't have them at home, I made little ones. So a set of 4 is $5. And you can pick those up from my mama. She's going to do that. We just made little sample sets. But this is also a memory release blend, so it's already combined. So we'll use this one for our first round. So we'll have to pass a little bit and share those around. Deb, you're going to work on that. And then our next round, we'll use a blend called Inner Child. That's super light, but intended to integrate to some of those more pleasant childhood memories. And then Release will be our 3rd round that we'll use. It goes pretty quickly because we're going to bring in some things to use, to concentrate on and to think about. So I'm going to stick to our time frame, but we should be able to get through those 3 rounds, and then we'll do some closure together. All right? Yeah. So yes,
the memory is the stress
lavender. Yep.
Yummy.
Isn't that a yummy blend together? I know, super good. Hi, how are you?
Okay.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Is it sold already?
What if you're allergic to lavender?
So I would not put, are you allergic to Young Living lavender?
Lavender, the plant.
The
lavender.
plant?
If I'm anywhere near it, I can't breathe.
Okay, so if you experience any of that, so I would put it on you today. I would use the frankincense and just the frankincense. And because even lavender is in Stress Away, I believe. Yeah. And if you smell it in here and you start to experience, just step out to the outside. Is that okay? Is that a proper boundary? Anything else you want to offer?
Yeah, I'm fine with the other oils, but I'm allergic to
well, also paying attention to we have it on, so how
right.
Yeah, for sure.
That's good to know because we diffuse it in the office a lot.
Yeah.
I have a question.
When I smell it, I close my door.
So these three
And
make
then
up that bottle,
I
right?
frankincense in the air.
Yep, so I just took an empty lavender bottle and I just put, I just counted my drops. I just dropped in 20 drops of each of them, so it was equal parts.
And you didn't put anything else in?
No.
just the 30.
No, in that one with the roller ball, I just did, like I said, just an empty 15 mil and then just did about 20 of each. And then put the roller bottle top on it. They're called Aroma, what was it, Aroma Fitments or something, Aroma Glide Fitments. Yeah.
Do you,
No carrier oil?
No, not in that one. No, just straight up.
do you find, like, there's a specific way that's maybe the best for your body to benefit? Like, the way you
Well, see what you think about inhaling it today, because we're going to use a lot of the, what's the scent tent, where you're going to put the oil on your hands, and you're going to bring it over your nose like this, and just bring it in, and breathe it all the way into, okay, I always picture it going into my limbic system, and then I picture it kind of like filtering out through my body. So it doesn't, and less oil is more powerful. So we also will say sometimes if you are applying topically, we think we have to put a bunch on, and usually it's like one tiny little drop and some coconut oil to rub it in is all that you need. So I am a runner and a hiker, and so I use a lot of Panaway with coconut oil on my knees especially. That's where I find that I need that support. All right. Okay, so the first thing to get started with this process today is you want to sit down. Ha, you're all doing that. First step done, check. And you want to ask yourself what it is that you really want. Like, what is it that's kind of elusive to you right now? Is there a goal or an intention of how you choose to live your life that is blocking? You're just not achieving it in the way that you thought you would. Now, the thing to keep in mind when you're setting a goal like this is you tap into that inner guidance system, right? Okay, is this really in my best interest? Is this in my higher purpose? I also think it's important to find a goal that speaks to your heart, you know, like that you get excited about, not something that somebody else wants for you. But it could be something simple like I'll give you some of the directions that he gives in here because I love these examples. He says, I have a job doing this blank and paying blank per year that starts on this date. I travel to blank city or country by this date. I have achieved this rank or position in my company by a specific date, making so much money per month or year. I am free of a craving or doing something that's detrimental to me, a habit that you want to release. Something simple like I am in a loving and supportive relationship, or I do what I need to do to support vibrant health, whether it be like I do eat well, or I add 2 more days of exercise to support vibrant health, okay? And I'm going to encourage you to choose a goal that feels, that is written in a SMART format, okay? And a lot of people are familiar with SMART because we use it a lot in goal setting, that this is a specific goal, it's measurable, so there's a way that you can track it. It's something that you're easily accountable for, whether you do it or don't do it. That it's relevant to your life right now, and that it's a timely goal. So putting a deadline on yourself a little bit. And I'll give you a little hint. All of these things about your goal. Right now, you want this goal in your life, but it's not happening. Like, and if you were to rate your goal on a scale from 0 to 10, you'd probably be under a 5. You first start. Does that make sense? Am I resonating with some of you? Okay, so you can write that intention down because you're going to keep coming back to that while we're doing the session today. Again, you're trying to get your energy moving, so write the goal as if it's already occurred. So you're putting your energy into the goal. It's something that you want. It's growth in your business. It's happiness in your family. It's a new outlook on a physical or self-care habit. I mean, it's appropriate that we're here on Self-Care Tuesday or Take Care Tuesday. Thursday. Oh my gosh.
Pick a day.
Where did the days go? This week is almost over. Take Care Thursday. To do this. But you want to bring a vibration of desired reality into your brain. So what is it that you see yourself doing or being part of or feeling good? It could be related to walking pain-free or, experiencing a whole week without feeling like the weight of the world on your shoulders. Once you have that written down, I want you to rate how likely it seems that it could happen on a scale from 0 being least likely, this could never happen, to 10 being most definitely it could happen. I just want you to write the number on your paper, but if you'd show me on your fingers, that'll help me track. You can do it like in school, how we all kind of did it like this. Yeah, that's good. Now again, we honor positive belief, but at the same time, if you're a 10, this should already have happened. So make it more specific, or bring it to some reality that it's still stuck. Like, we want to believe that it's going to happen. Yeah, we're confident that it's going to happen, but really, how do we feel about it happening right now in this moment? Does that make sense, Leanne?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Here, I'll just give you some, I'll release some of my weight to you. Now it's gone.
Exactly. Well, and I find if I add a date, like I'll say, oh, I choose this thing, and I'm like, yeah, I'm all about it, but I'm going to do it by the end of June. I'm like, oh, how am I possibly going to fit that in? I've been working on my backyard for the last few months, and I chose to do an AFT session to release like all my blocks to making the phone calls to contractors and figuring out who was going to help me with what, and figuring out how much my budget was and what kinds of supplies I needed. I did an AFT because I knew all those things were possible, but I didn't believe that I had the time to get it done before May, and it's almost done. All right. So I want you to write down, listen first, for a negative voice that tells you it's not possible. And like I was just saying, there's not enough time. I don't know the right people. Whatever the negative voice is that tells you, you've tried this before, it didn't work. Whatever that is. And pay attention to that negative voice. What's that negative voice telling you about why it hasn't happened? How do you feel when you hear the negative voice? Does it bring about emotions of guilt, anger, sadness, fear? If you want to get super specific, I'll put this feelings chart up on the board so you can really hone in. But it needs to be a one-word feeling. One-word feeling about how you feel when you hear that negative voice. Then I want you to locate that feeling in your body. So get really present with yourself and just think, where do I feel that fear? Or where do I feel that unsettled feeling? Or that negative, where do I hold it? Could it be in my heart? Is it in my gut? Do I feel it in my head? Body tends to not lie when it comes to our emotions. I want you to drift back to an earlier time when you felt the same way. Same level of discouragement, or embarrassed, or fearful. You felt it maybe in the same place, and maybe it was the original time you heard that negative voice, or it was a recent time that you heard it. I want you to bring that moment to mind, whether it plays as a movie or comes to you as an image or voice. And once you have the image, I want you to take that memory release blend, so the 3 oils together, you already have them on your fingers, just tent them over your nose and mouth. I want you to breathe in to the image or the movie. Breathe into the feeling, where you feel it in your body, and into that negative voice. If you have experienced an emotional release, that's okay. If you don't, that's okay too. Just stay present with breathing the oil blend in to the snapshot, to the feeling, where you feel it in your body. And soon people notice that it fades or shifts or a new feeling crops up. And maybe you begin to get new insights related to your intention. When you feel that shift, you can lower your hands and make some notes, because typically that brings out something new for you. So now go back to your original intention and rate it on a scale from 0 to 10, with 0 being least likely to happen, to 10 being most definitely it will happen. Keeping in mind that after the first round, sometimes you've got an insight, they're like, you haven't been quite honest with yourself. You might experience a fallback. That's okay. Just note that for yourself. So we're going to go through another round, and this time, not yet, but Mom will pass inner child in just a few minutes, okay? So on this round, I want you to bring to mind that intention, and I want you to listen for the negative voice that tells you that this can't happen. And again, negative voices can be from other people, but they can also be that inner voice that we hold on to too. Somehow we're not good enough. We aren't worthy. We aren't skilled. We aren't like somebody else. What's that negative voice tell you about why it can't happen? And then how do you feel about that negative voice? What emotion comes up this time? Get really specific about one emotion that you're going to bring to mind. And then locate where you feel it in your body. Next, I want you to drift back to an earlier time when you felt the same way. Keeping in mind that it could have happened recently, or it might be long ago. Choose the first thing that comes to mind, the place, the time where you felt the same upset, anger, frustration. Felt it in wherever you've located it in your body. And once you have that, I invite you to take a drop of inner child, or just a little bit. this inner child.
Not at home.
No lavender and inner child, so that would be fine. Inner child. And then, again, scented. And if it's too strong here, just bring it to your heart center and let the smell just kind of come up from your fingertips. Close your eyes to really focus in on the thought, the snapshot, the feeling, and where you feel it in your body. Allow yourself to feel whatever feelings surface. Allow them to just pass through you as you smell the oil. Notice what happens to the image and how you feel in your body. You may notice a shift. Fade into a different memory or feeling. Take note of that. As you feel that shift, you can make some notes to yourself about what new beliefs are starting to emerge related to your intention. Maybe something creative comes to mind. Now I want you to go back to your original intention and rate it again on a scale from 0 to 10. 0 being least likely, 10 being most definitely it could happen. Just give me a thumbs up if you've seen an increase in your number or your confidence level in doing it. Well, we're close to time.
No, you're fine, you've got 30 minutes.
Okay, great.
And then we still have QA, so
Okay.
then that gives us 30 minutes.
Perfect. Okay, great.
No
All right,
rush
good.
at all.
All right, awesome. So go back to your intention. Listen for another negative voice that comes up. One that tells you this is impossible. I'm modifying for spell. Hold on. super light, but it'll still be on it. And if it feels too strong, don't use it, okay? All right, so this is release. Okay, but we're not gonna use it yet. So, negative voice that tells you this is not possible. And then zero in on how you feel when you hear that negative voice. What's that negative, what emotion does that bring up for you? And then I want for you to locate where you feel it in your body. And then drift back to an earlier time when you felt the same way. So you brought in the feeling, you brought in the place in your body, now you're bringing in the next part of the memory complex, which is time when you felt the same way. Keeping in mind that sometimes in round 3, you start to feel determined, almost frustrated. So, when you're ready and you have that snapshot or movie or image in mind, bring the cotton ball up your nose. It should be super light. If it's too much, just go back to the frankincense or an oil that you, or yeah, whatever you've got in front of you there. Focus in on the snapshot, the feeling, the negative thoughts, and the bodily sensation while you smell, release. Notice what happens to the image, how you feel in your body. You may shift in intensity, fade into another memory, or start to bring some enlightened understanding. Feel that you've gone as far as you can for now. You can open your eyes and make some notes. And at this point, I usually invite groups to note if there's anything else still lingering, so that when you go back to this later, you can reassess and clear other pieces. In a solo session, sometimes we'll go, this might be our final round, but we might go again. But for our demonstration purposes today, we're going to just do 3 rounds. So now rate your original intention again on a scale from 0 to 10. 0 being least likely to 10 being most definitely I can make this happen. So if you turn your paper over, we're going to use this worksheet to create an affirmation that expresses a new positive belief that you wish to instill. Now this could be directly related to the intention that you wrote down at the very beginning. It could be, or it could be about an attitude that you have about the intention. So affirmations, quite simply, start with a claiming, right? I am, I create, I choose, are some of my favorite ways to start an affirmation. Something active. Another one that's come to mind for me a lot lately has been I listen, I intuit, I believe, and then that gives kind of that beginning part. So if you go to your intention, then you can, when I was using this with somebody who was looking for a job, it was more about, I'm worthy of having a high-paying job, right? Like, he took the intention that he had and shifted it into an ownership and affirmation. So this is where you all get to do a little participation on your feet as well. One of the things is part of Dr. Perkis's technique here is to bring in that research that Amy Cuddy did on power poses, about how when we simply stand in a pose or with our arms outstretched, we actually invite that physiological response that then transfers emotionally. In fact, things are being released in our brain when that happens. Part of her study said that when they tested a group of students who was going in to take a test using, the pose before they started, they actually had higher levels of testosterone and strength kinds of hormones flowing in their bodies. I thought that was so fascinating. And you can find her whole TED Talk online if you are fascinated by that stuff as well. Cuddy is her name. But we're going to use another oil blend. Transformation, did you check that one? I'm not sure about, but Believe, I feel like it's not lavender at all. This one I'm a little, nope, it's not that one. So I brought two different oils, or we were talking earlier, you can use an oil that brings about a sense of strength. So a lot of essential oils come from trees. So oils that are sturdy, like Valor has a lot of tree oils in it. Believe has Idaho blue spruce or something strong. What is it? Balsam. It has balsam in it, and Idaho blue spruce. And then transformation is just about shifting what we've just done to something different. So choose what you'd like to choose. We'll pass these two around for you to try. And then if you stand up, we're gonna say our affirmations. All right, we're gonna bring those into this space. So we're all about Take Care Thursday, and this is how we're taking care of ourselves is by learning a new something. So a drop. Get some air moving. Yeah, take a drink of water. Slough off what you've just cleared, and now we're going to anchor in this new affirmation, this new positive belief about ourselves. All right, so you kind of smell it as you're getting started. You're acting as your own personal diffuser. So it's a good question. Like, what do you do? Well, when you've got the oils on you, you're breathing them in, and so it's on you. You're putting. You can do arms outstretched if you're embracing and releasing and kind of experiencing that shift. You can do a strong kind of Wonder Woman sort of pose. Balance poses are okay too. Whatever you can hold for a couple minutes, without falling over. I know, right? It's a little more challenging. All right, so find whatever that is. You can close your eyes if you feel more comfortable and confident, but start saying your affirmation. I always love the cacophony of a group saying it together. So whatever it is, I am enough. Whatever I'm going to use I am enough today. I am enough. I am enough. I am enough, and you say yours with me. Whatever yours is, I am enough.
I believe in me and my abilities. I believe in me and my abilities. I believe in me and my ability. I believe in me and my ability. I believe in me.
3 more times with strength. I am enough. I am enough. I am enough. Whew! Give yourself a round of applause. Shake it off, get a drink. step outside, come back in. We've created a nice aroma scent in here. But if it's too much, I honor wherever you're at with that for the remainder of our time. Next thing I want you to do is sit down. On your half sheets, I forgot I gave you these. On your half sheets, that affirmation is written in at the top. The way this works is, it's a chart It's a chart to track how you and when you say your affirmation. So you can write down today's date is 5/3, I think, something like that. Okay, 5/3. So you can check off one time you've already done it today in the AM-ish, and then tonight before you go to bed, make it a PM so you can check it off. So this is to track saying it 3 times, or 3 days, 2 times a day. And then it might lead to another affirmation or something else that comes up that you're like, I wonder if I can use this AFT thing to clear this thing, and then come up with another affirmation. But the thing I want you to do at the very bottom or somewhere on your paper is I want you to write 2 other action steps that you can take. Now that you have spent time today kind of clearing out the thoughts and feelings and behaviors, right, associated with why you haven't achieved that goal or intention. Now what are the things or insights that you have from today's session that lead you to action? What could be your next best step? In addition to saying the affirmation every day, 2 quick things that you can do in the next 24 to 48 hours to put your intention into action. That concludes group AFT session, so thank you so much for having me. Some of the questions people ask at the end are, how did you learn this? And I picked up the book, and I signed up for his certification process online, and I spent 8 weeks practicing and studying so that I could pass this along to other people as a modality that's helpful to me. It also can be self-administered, so that's the other cool part, is now that I have the skill, in fact, I have to be reminded sometimes, I can use AFT for my good and benefit as well. So I love being able to share that with people. So as a layperson, you can simply pick up the book, get the oils, and put them in together to easily use this process on other things that you're having, just having blocks about for whatever reason. Or, we have loads of excuses, right? Loads of things that come up about, well, it's not happening because of this, or it's because of that, or whatever. In the end, what we've found to be true is that many times it's our own self that's getting in the way because the path isn't clear. We're bringing more negativity and more barriers to achieving that goal because of subconscious work. So this is just one other way to easily use essential oils for your mental and physical and spiritual well-being. Thank you.